Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. Today we are doing a step beyond history. Today we will take a look at the world map because we are taking a geography lesson. Are you ready? Let's jump in. Oh, another thing. Those of you like Zangetsu with hawk eyes, if you are curious about this map and the different colors on the map, the different blacks and the grays, you will find out about that at the end of the video. Let's start. Remember SI? Substep Infobase? Substep Infobase is from Poland, and this little place is Poland. Up until 2007, Substep Infobase was in Poland. In 2007, he decided to immigrate for reasons you will discover in the book. In 2007, he moved not far away, he moved to UK. UK had a fun experience for SI, and being a metalhead, he was looking into different kinds of music for inspirations and just exploration, I think. And he came across dubstep at that point. So in UK, metal for the first time met dubstep. Now I don't know if there are any other people on the world who might have thought about the idea of combining metal with dubstep and specifically death metal with dubstep, but SI definitely executed that. After that, this was in 2007 still. After that, he worked on his sounds, created some albums, and in 2009, he released a short EP, an EP that consisted only of 4 tracks, and that EP was called Rooted in Immense, let me write this, brutality. So that was the EP that came out in September 2009. And in this EP, there was one track specifically, and that track was called Voices from God. And you know why this track is special? This track is special because this track had the first ever official usage of the word Deathstep in it, because it wasn't just Voices from God. It was Voices from God, Deathstep, V.I.P. And this started Deathstep officially. This was still in 2009. Something funky happened, if not parallelly, at least right after this. I remember some of you mentioning Crispy in the comments, especially Metaljack and Andorax. I still don't understand how to say your name, Andorax. Andorra. I'll just call you Andorra, okay? So, Andorra mentioned that Crispy was also some of the first people to create Deathstep, and on further research, I found that yes, Crispy did make Deathstep remixes. He actually remixed multiple songs by Suicide Silence, and this was somewhere in December 2009. You see the difference? September and December, not far. So to clarify the timelines, I had to ask Crispy about his story, and he mentioned that at the time, in 2009, dubstep was getting popular, and the metal influences into dubstep were also getting popular. I don't know if he meant other people making heavy stuff or if he specifically meant Substep Infobase. He never mentioned that, but he clearly denied being one of the pioneers of the genre. So with that, let's move on to our next step. But wait, let's summarize so far. So first step, we had SI, who moved from Poland to UK 2007, then his first EP 2009, then the first mention of the Deathstep word itself. Then comes Crispy. That was in 2009 as well, but almost 2010. So far, nothing that interesting, or at least nothing in terms of globalization, because Crispy is also from UK, right? So far, Deathstep has only stayed in this area. Now, interesting things start to happen. From this album, rooted in immense brutality, there was another track called The SATHEIST. I don't know if you have heard this track. If you have not, definitely go check it out. It's worth giving a listen. So The SATHEIST was the track that got Bratkila interested. I remember Bratkila mentioning this. The moment he heard The SATHEIST, he knew the genre had immense potential, and this was in 2009 still, because yeah, the album came out at that time, right? So Bratkila found it in 2009, and Bratkila's first LP that was significant for Deathstep's progress was the Deathstep LP, and that came out in 2011. I remember the date, 18th August 2011. I've gone through this story a lot of times, so I remember the date. So it came out in 2011, but between this time, another very, very iconic name came into the picture. You want to guess who that is? Put it in the comments, but I'll tell you what happened. From all this, somehow things reached the United States. And who was here? Well, none other than Moth. Moth in the United States heard a set that Bratkila played. At the time, radio used to be a popular source of music for people all around the world. And Moss was listening to something on the radio. I don't exactly remember the name of the show, but he mentioned saying violent crayons. Is it violent? Yeah, I think violent crayons. First of all, great name. I like that. Violent Crayons EP. So this EP was played in one of the radio shows, and Moth came across Deathstep through this. And after that, well, this was still in 2010, because Violent EP came out in 2010. Bratkila was still working on a sound for the Deathstep LP, and some of those inspirations showed up in Violent Crayons, and Moth picked up. Let's move on to another person. Wait, let's sequence number these. So you have 1, 2, and then you have this 3, and then you have 4, right? Another very significant moment happened right after this. Actually, almost in parallel to this. Almost. Because the moment Deathstep LP came out, somebody very important picked it up. You know who that is? You want to make a guess? None other than Code Pandorum. He came across the Deathstep LP, and there was this one single track that kind of got his attention, and that was Singular Individuals. Haven't heard of that? Go check it out. Those are classic bangers. So Code Pandorum got into the scene, and this was 2011, right? Because this was released in 2011. So we saw how things went. Oh yeah, I also should tell you, Moss was from US, but Code Pandorum is not. Code Pandorum is from Germany, which is this one. That is Code Pandorum. So it started from Poland, went to UK, stayed in UK, then went to... Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, Bratkila is from Sweden. So it started from Poland, then went to UK, then went to Sweden, then went to US, and then came back to Germany. So this is how the short initial tour happened. But after this, the details get a little bit murky. Let me get this out of here for now, and I'll tell you what happens. After 2000, post 2011, after Code Pandorum, I do not have any idea exactly what happened, because there were names like Mantis, 1.8.7 Deathstep, Cram, and many more who were making very heavy bangers. But for whatever reason, I've not been able to communicate with either of these or anybody else who were in this period making music. So given that, tracing it back to today is a little bit difficult. So I will keep working on this, but so far this is how much of the story is clear. But that's not all. Remember I told you about the color coding of the map? So you see the different intensities of the black. So this is very dark black, this is gray, this is a darker gray, lighter gray. So the intensity tells you how many producers are from this place. Right now, this map is not complete because the data is itself not complete. This represents only 100 producers so far, 100 producers from around the world. But 100 is not even close to the actual number of people who make Deathstep and Minatory. Right now I'm only considering Deathstep and Minatory because they are close. But out of this 100 producers that are on this map right now, this is the highest, right? This is about 19 producers from here, and roughly 1-2 from these places. Germany has a lot too, but again, do not rely on this. It's incomplete, and the work to complete this data set is still going on. It requires a lot of manual hours because the information is not available. People have their SoundCloud accounts disabled. It's a lot of work. And luckily, I have found a few people who are willing to help me gather the data. So thank you to those who have agreed to help for your contributions, and thank you for the immense amount of support my last video received. I was really surprised that it did so well, partially because Dairoth, the Pikachu guy, he he probably planted it in one of his servers or something. He did something, and he and his friends did something, and it somehow got to a lot of people. So I don't know whatever happened, but thank you for whatever you have done, Dairoth, and everybody else involved. I think this is what I like when I'm doing this. I know I'm not alone, and the support from the community only makes this so much more interesting. It's like a huge group project, like a big collaboration. We are not making music, but sure, we are making history. Isn't that amazing? Do you want to be part of the history? If you would like to contribute, you can do so by providing your favorite producers from around the world. Say, for example, you know someone who's from Egypt and you love their music. Put that name somewhere in the comments. It'll help me and the other people who are working on this collection to more accurately represent the entire population and the spread geographically of Deathstep producers. So that was Deathstep around the world. Do you have any questions? Oh yeah, that reminds me. Mr. Dragon, you asked me some questions. I will answer them, and the link to that video will be in the description. And until next time, bye-bye. Thank you for watching, and thank you for all the support. It means a lot. And Bye bye.